Can you guys hear me chewing my gum?
I mean, not now.
You could before, though.
I didn't pay attention.
Okay, because if you can, I don't want to be chewing gum.
Probably don't want to be in the
No.
episode regardless if you're going to be talking and stuff, because you can usually tell. I can hear it.
Ah, now it's gone.
Oh.
Had to get a couple last chews out of it.
Bro, I got so much to talk about right now. Babe, can I talk about the girls being mixed?
Welcome back to the My Mom Has Tourette podcast. And this week, one of our mothers stepped in a pothole and has permanent nerve damage. So on that happy note, I am Nathan.
I'm Peggy the Pirate.
I'm not.
That's Josh and that's Andrew. And yeah,
Andrew.
We skipped last week. Instead, we did that little play together, a little let's play, or as I'm calling it, let us play. And we played some Ultimate Chicken Horse, and that is now being put out, or that is put out on the YouTube. And I'm also going to be editing a shorter version of it for those who don't want to watch like an hour and 20-minute gaming video. But
It
that's
was
going to be a little bit
chaotic.
better. It was very chaotic. It's a fun game. I'm a big fan of it. But yeah, we had a pretty decent 2 weeks. And how are you? How are you guys doing?
I just want everybody to know that we shaved.
Yeah, I don't know if you noticed.
Who's we?
I don't
Andrew.
like this
Andrew
anymore. It's
shaved.
bothering my chest.
Fun mom
He
fact,
pulls it
one of
all
our
out.
moms shaved.
That's gross. Please don't.
Nice.
How are you doing, Nathan?
Oh, I'm good.
Can everybody show what they're drinking out of tonight, since everybody's gotten something new?
Well, I'm always drinking out of my enormous water bottle that doubles as a weapon. It's bigger than my head.
And
I like
Andrew's
to switch
drinking
up
out
my
of a
bottle
V8
once in a while.
Splash.
V8 Splash bottle, yeah.
Nice.
Nice.
It only
Got a
contains
little-
5% juice, which is kind of depressing.
It's weird.
That is
weird.
a little bit weird.
You know, Nathan, I'm proud of you, because I went through and started watching your Papa Yaga videos, and I realized in your bloopers, not only did you change clothes in that the green man video, what's that episode called? The green dude from Pittsburgh.
Yeah, the Pittsburgh Green Man. I know you don't.
Yeah. In your bloopers, you changed clothes for some reason, and then you were also drinking out of that large contraption. So I like how it just kind of tied everything together.
How did that? What was tied? My brain's not tying that concept together. What do you mean?
Because Papa Yaga, you were drinking out of it. My Mom Has Tourette's podcast, you're drinking out of it.
Oh,
You tie the world together.
The common thread throughout all my channels
Yep.
is this bad boy. Okay, that's
You know, we're gonna have to start putting stickers on that. Like, we need to get merch. Get like stickers. My Mom Has Tourette's podcast stickers.
not bad merch.
I'm getting us shirts, boys. We're getting t-shirts then.
I would like a hoodie since winter's coming out.
Did I say hoodie? I said t-shirt.
He did say.
I
t-shirt.
said
what you
hoodie.
You said wrong.
All right, I'll take a t-shirt. If you want to make a t-shirt, I'll take a t-shirt.
Good. Sewed onto a hoodie. Problem solved.
Or I'll just cut the picture off and put it on a hoodie.
Perfect. Oh man, I'm tired. Anyone tired?
No, I'm not.
No, my flaw this week is I'm waiting until after the podcast to poop, so this is going to be a fun episode for me.
Good luck, my
If I
dude.
squirm, don't think anything about it.
An hour and a half of turtling.
Yeah, boy.
Oof.
Oh man. All right, Nathan, how are you doing? Anything
Oh,
new?
I'm good. Literally nothing new ever in my life. Going
Everybody watching this,
every time.
Nathan
I swear.
shaved, and I don't like it.
Yeah, it was like down to here, and I went one day, and I had to do it a few times because I only got that portion, and then it was like this weird like sticking out here. But I ripped it all out recently, and
That explains the patchiness.
yeah.
I
Wow.
love you, Nathan.
I love you too.
You should have kept the beard. That'll be my
That's
last
fair,
one, I
that's
promise.
fair. Yeah, it's patchy as heck. It's always been that way. I don't know, man. I don't know,
That's
deal
why
with
I
it.
can't. That's why I don't clean shave ever, because like if it gets too much shorter than this, it is
Well, mine's not
patches
even
a
down here.
hooligan.
You can see how long it is, and
I
then
know.
Yeah.
my buddy said he watched our last episode on his 62-inch TV, and he said it was way too much beard.
See,
That's
this is
amazing.
what I'm saying. I brought down the ratio a little bit. This was needed.
No,
You did it for your friend.
I did it exactly for your friend before he said his piece about it. So I'm
Listen.
pretty alright with it.
A friend who asks you to shave is not a friend.
Never tell a woman that.
Yeah, we don't.
I wouldn't be allowed to.
Yeah, but I don't know, man. My 2 weeks went fine. I did shave, and before that, I shaved this. But I think we've had an episode. No, we haven't had an episode where I shaved my head.
They haven't seen it because it would have been the Let's Play, I believe.
Yeah,
the Let Us Play.
The Let Us Play.
Which yeah, horrible name because I hate vegetables. But I'll set that aside. You know what? That's how I'll get my daily dose of veggies.
That is fair.
Monthly dose, yeah. I'll have a Let Us Play.
Okay.
Every now and again, I'm good with that.
That's going to sustain you, and it's going to provide you all the vitamins you need. Is our Let Us Plays. Everything's good. Things are chill. We're going to the beach in a few weeks. My family's going too. Like my family on my side and my wife's family, we're all going to the beach. So it's going to be interesting.
Together?
As one.
Is this the first time other than your? Is this the first time other than your wedding that they've all been in the same place?
No, they helped us move last year, and they were here, and so were they. My family from Pennsylvania, and they were all together for that move, but it was a little bit hectic. And we're not going to be. They're actually staying in like a different hotel, so it's going to be in a different spot. But we're going to be close enough that it's not hard to see each other and stuff. But that'll be pretty cool. Looking forward to that.
I just want to point out for those of the viewers that are listening on a podcast and don't really see us, or actually they don't see our private messages, so you wouldn't see this anyway. But I look over the show notes once in a while. I love the fact that this week's show notes, one of the first things, it's like, here's the fun fact of the week, here's what went on with us. So you got like 2-3 bullet points, then you put don't like Nathan shaving, next bullet point. So I love the fact that Josh's show notes this week made sure we were going to point that out.
Oh, I love it. That is nice. Let me double check that, make sure I'm not missing something I need to say here. I don't
Listen,
think so.
Castaway was such a good movie, and Nathan reminded me of that.
Yeah, that's
Hands up if you've never seen Castaway.
I've seen it. It's been a long time, though.
You've
really never seen it?
Hanks.
I really have not. No.
Pretty good movie.
Tom Hanks is overrated.
No, he's not.
Wow.
Tom
take
Hanks
of the day.
Oh, man.
Tom Hanks' best work was Toy Story, and you can't convince me otherwise.
No. You can't. You gotta separate them, like voice acting.
Oh, I do separate them. You have Toy Story top tier, and then you have garbage, hot trash, which are the rest of his movies.
That movie that he did that came out on Apple Play only with him where he built a robot, that was a pretty good movie.
Wow, a movie that's direct to TV sounds amazing and nothing else. Yeah, sure, it's great.
It was a good movie. Just
like the third Grinch movie. I'm sure that was great too.
There's 3 of him.
I thought there was one.
Point. Let's move on. Let's move on.
Josh, how's your time been?
Ask Andrew.
Oh, I never know what order you want to go in. Andrew.
So it's been 2 weeks. Last week wasn't very eventful. Just kind of work, didn't do much, the usual stuff. I attempted to make attempted to make pulled pork for the first time in my smoker, and it turned out tasty, but it wasn't pulled pork. I don't know if I just didn't cook it long enough, but it wasn't. I could not pull it apart, so I was like, cool, I'm just gonna cut hunks of meat and eat like a caveman, and it still tasted good. And then this week, this week on Saturday, I went to the Renaissance Festival in the area here, so that was a good time.
That's pretty cool.
Got to watch some. What's that?
Did you go with anyone?
Yeah, I went. Oh, excuse me. I went with Joel.
Oh,
excuse me. Him and I went. and watched it. If you haven't been to one before, it's really more of a paradise, not just for like nerds, but so for example, I know Josh's wife is a huge fan of anything that's like handmade, and that's essentially every single vendor theirs. Everybody makes the stuff by hand, and it's everything from people make their own actual chainmail, and they make
That's
like
awesome.
vests, hats to like functional chainmail armor and stuff.
That's awesome.
Everyone hand makes. Joel bought like a $300 pair of handmade leather boots that they, yeah,
Goodness.
that they like made like earlier that week, and it was because he was wearing his kilt and he's always
Wow.
wanted boots that matched with it. So he got some toggles and stuff for it. It was really nice. They made me try on a pair even though they knew I wasn't going to buy them, but they were extremely comfortable, and they're
All
like
right.
kind of the knee, just under the knee high boots. But man, they were very well quality, very good quality. They had a lot of different stuff. They it's always interesting hearing. Um, so if you haven't been to one of these before, they pay people to be hecklers. So there's just random men and women walking around who walk up to you. Sometimes it's to like go have you visit their little stall to like play a game or just check out the stuff that they're selling. But there are people who are strictly hecklers who just walk around. They don't have anything to do. There's one guy who's dressed up as a troll, right? And so that's literally what he does is he just walks around trolling people. He'll try to like give kids riddles and call them stupid when they can't get it right. It's great. It's
That's
hilarious.
awesome. I love that.
But and there's of course they had to put signs up this past year because people don't realize or don't understand that that is like a thing, that people literally just are there to rib you and give you a hard time, and because people try to fight the hecklers, so it's pretty funny. um, the hecklers
Give the
and
hecklers
some of the
swords.
shows, yeah, the hecklers and some of the shows are really good too. There's always one show I like to see. It's just these two guys, and they kind of make fun of the Hollywood stereotype of like a sword fight. So they're like, oh, there's like these hypnotic times where you can just kind of you're in a trance watching the sword play, and it's like the same move over and over and over again, just to make the scene longer. They have some funny stuff, and all of it's improv comedy. If you see a show there, because there's probably 3 or 4 shows going on at any given hour, and it's a bunch of some scripted, but a lot of improv comedy. It's a good time, and of course they have a lot of non-medieval food, but they have a lot of like uh, I would say it's probably like a 14-inch turkey leg that you can just buy for $9, and it's just this massive like piece of meat, and you just walk around with this big turkey leg and a goblet, and you feel like you're back in the times. It's pretty cool. But yeah, that's what I did this weekend. It was a good time. Got to watch
Can
some
we
jousting too. That was fun.
can we talk about your pulled pork?
No,
What?
Okay.
We want to go back to the pulled pork?
Well, I didn't want to interrupt. I wanted to let him finish, and then I wanted
why
to.
do you want to go back to the pulled pork?
Well, I'm just curious. What was wrong with it?
I told you it tasted fine. It was cooked. I did something wrong along the way. It was the consistency wasn't like you could pull it apart
It was
Those
very
hard.
well.
those were the last words
It wasn't
my mom
hard.
ever
It was
said
still
to me.
very juicy, and it
It
was
was hard to shred, though.
yeah.
Okay. You put it in the smoker.
hmm
What temperature did you cook it on?
I cooked it at 225. I want to say it took 7 hours roughly.
How big was it?
So that was the thing. It was only like a 3.5 pound little shoulder.
Where'd you get it from?
I got it from Walmart.
I know when I had one, it was like a 5 pound. It was like 2 5 pounds, and it was
hmm
almost like 10 hours it cooked.
Mm. This one, I did realize there was a lot of fat. At least it was the first time I tried to use like shoulder to smoke, but there was a lot of fat. Like the fat cap was freaking huge on it. So
Well, some people with pulled pork say they don't trim it at all, and some people trim the fat. So it's really up to you.
I wish
Do
I
you-
could trim my fat.
Me too.
Liposuction,
seasoning did you
baby!
No, don't do that. Bad consequences with that stuff.
You've heard what they say about liposuction, right?
Uh-oh.
If the tube gets stuck whenever they're like vacuuming it out, it just goes.
Sounds like a vacuum cleaner when you get it stuck on something and you're trying to pull it back out.
I really want to watch that surgery take place and just watch like they accidentally hit some skin underneath and it's like it'd be nuts.
All right, last question. What kind of seasoning?
So I have my own Cajun seasoning that I use, so I did a little bit of Cajun seasoning to give it a kick. But I tried this. It was a cherry cola barbecue rub.
Ooh.
He's leaving.
Ooh.
No fair. You get back here. If I can't leave and I have to poop, you have to come back.
Baby, come back. You should try meat church
Ah,
seasoning.
Gremlin Nathan. What?
You should try meat church seasoning.
Meat church. Do it again.
For the people who are listening to this, Nathan is slowly hiding behind his bed and randomly picking up in different spots. There he is. Peekaboo.
Peek-a-poop. That's what I'm playing right now.
My bad. I don't know what came over me. I'm good. That took me a second.
Buoyant.
Did you hear that?
I did.
I didn't think you heard the joke. That's why I was laughing. I thought it was funnier that you didn't hear it and you started laughing.
This should be the turtle episode.
Oh. Enough with the turtles.
Just Photoshop me on the turd.
Alright, so I barely gave any information about my weeks because I always forget them because so little happens. However, I have been reading some books, and those were good.
You want to tell
What'd
us?
you start reading?
Oh, I mean, I'm like always
reading?
reading something, but I read like Brandon Sanderson's 2 new books that came out. The second one was A Frugal Wizard's Guide to Surviving Medieval England, and the third one was Yumi and the Nightmare Painter, and they were great. Yumi was fantastic.
Paint me like your nightmares.
Also,
yeah,
oh, my bad.
I was just gonna say I'm way off then because when you said Brandon Sanderson, I for some reason thought he was the guy who used to do Disney vines. You remember him?
No.
No?
Nah.
Yeah. I'll send you some links of the guy afterwards. You might know who I'm talking about. I'm probably way off, but that's kind of interesting.
Andrew, one of the Critical Role episodes I was listening to this week, at the beginning of their thing, they give all the news and where they're going to be in a couple weeks, like some Comic-Con or something, and then an update about their store merch. And they were talking about an alert going off, and he goes, it sounds like the old school alert where it goes...
No one is as good as that sound effect as I am.
Yeah, it sounds so realistic.
Sound off.
It's impressive. I don't know how that comes out of your
Thank
nose. All right, so apart from reading some books, which is always fun, I'm making a game, so that's pretty sweet.
What is it?
I said that last week when we were doing the play together.
I didn't hear that. Is it a battle royale?
Well, I did it in the middle. Listen,
Everything's a battle royale now.
One, not everything's a battle royale. Two, that would require a whole studio, man. I'm not that good. I'm just using like basic HTML, CSS, JavaScript. I'm honing my craft, one might say. And I'm essentially, listen, you're gonna know. You're gonna know, alright? You remember Cernia?
Yes.
You remember Cernia.
Fingers.
It's not going to show the screen.
Finger puppets.
It's not going to show the screen.
Hand puppets.
Well, we're going to have to ignore that. However,
some nice
I
fingers.
still play Cernia daily. It's always running. That's never ended. Chris does too. But basically, I'm creating an online text-based RPG. It's the kind of thing you play in a browser, although it eventually probably have an app, that sort of thing for people who play mobile, because lots of people play games like that mobile these days. However, it's imagine RuneScape, but like 2D and text-based, but also like it has like images. Just it's like a you've seen Cernia, but for the audience, it's basically imagine 2D RuneScape, but also like move around a character, but it's like the old text-based like dungeon crawler kind of things where you like it's not that bare bones where you like type in what you want to do and it moves you around and stuff, but like there's like images to click on. Like I could click on an image and equip it for like a weapon or something, or I can like there's a map, like a mini map you click on to move to the next town, that sort of thing. But it's like a basic kind of thing like that. But I'm working on that, so that's gonna be fun over the next few months or so. And apart from that, I got nothing, and I want to know what Josh has been doing.
Last week, I built the workbench.
Okay.
Set up my little wood shop in the basement. I sent pictures. Last week, so my son likes to do this thing where he sticks his finger in your nose.
And sticks your finger in his nose.
Sounds like my mom.
I can't fit my finger in his nose. But he'll stick his finger in my nose, and I'll be like, and then he'll giggle. Well, he jammed his finger so hard into my nose, instant nosebleed.
Oh my!
So I had to like lay down for a couple minutes to get it to stop.
A little hole puncher.
Yeah. I was like, oh yeah, I feel it. So that's fun.
He's just to the point where his fingers are long enough that he can hit the blood point.
No, he didn't hit the blood point. He like hit that little middle part. Went at an angle, and he's like, die.
Ugh. So sounds terrible. Continue.
Last week we made homemade laundry detergent.
Okay.
So for $36, we should have enough detergent to last a year.
Did you make it out of beaver fat?
No.
Cool.
I think my mom has done that before.
Your mom's done everything.
Well, my wife's seen videos, and she's like, let's try this. So we did.
Cool.
Nice.
Have you used it yet?
Yeah, we've been using it all 2 weeks.
Have you noticed any odd smells from your clothes, or have they been going well?
No, I mean, it smells good. It's got this big, thick laundry bar that we had to grade. And then it had Gain, like, powdered laundry detergent.
Mm-hmm.
It has a whole box of borax, and then a whole box of Arm & Hammer washing detergent.
Okay.
And then we just mixed it up in a big 5-gallon Home Depot bucket. And put a little tablespoon scoop in there and 2 scoops and wash your laundry.
That's maybe throw a little like lavender oil or something in there, make her smell real nice.
They said that, but I don't know where to get lavender oil. We looked.
Just online.
The bar soap was supposed to be smelly too, but so that's our adventure.
Nice.
What else? Andrew, this week I had a dream about me and you.
Oh boy.
We were playing kickball.
So
that was really it. We were just playing kickball, and
did we win?
No, I never got to that point.
Not realistic, then. That's fine. Move on.
Like Andrew stated in my notes, it says, "Don't like Nathan shaving."
I'm sorry.
My daughter's birthday is this Saturday, so the 23rd.
Happy birthday to
and
her.
Them. There's 2.
Oh, I thought you meant...
No, they're twins, so they were born on the same day.
Good for them.
Who's older?
Aaliyah.
By how long?
Like a minute.
Nice.
No, they just popped out of there.
Out.
Yeah.
They didn't pop, they were ripped.
Sorry, my bad.
Oh, I was going to say they walked out, so I was wrong too.
They wanted to do birthday bags for the kids in their classes. So we bought these like little fancy happy birthday gift bags, happy birthday pencils, some candy, and then there was the idea of putting like little erasers in the bag. And so I saw all these cool erasers. They were like jelly erasers. And they were like $12 for like 16 of them. And I was like, I wonder if I can find any cheaper. All right. So, give me a second. I was looking through Amazon's different eraser options they had. And they had these erasers It was like $12 for 27 of them, so we had to buy 2 sets. They're fried chicken erasers that came in a box in these little cups with the plastic lids, and they have the chicken wings, the drumstick, the
I've
full
seen those before. They're
full
pretty
size
cool.
wings. So the girls put them in their bags, but this is a little fried chicken drumstick.
Nice.
That's awesome.
And it's an eraser, so I love it. I'm
Did
excited.
not
I
look
was
like
like,
an
"There's."
eraser.
I know, and they're tiny, but they're awesome. I was like, "There's gonna be extras. I'm keeping one of them." And, so shout out to my mom. I bought sausages for dinner last night, but we were late coming home, so she had to cook the sausages.
Nice.
And so today, Friday, I bought this big pack of chicken breast. And for some reason this morning, she woke up and she's like, I'm going to put all the chicken breast in a crock pot and just cook it. And then halfway through, she's like, if you guys want to do something else with them, you can. So then they cooked all day. They made dinner and stuff. And my mom goes, I'm sorry, dinner sucked. I'm like, well, I haven't even tried it. Like, what's wrong with it? She goes, it's just bland. It's not good. So I looked at it, and it's just like, looks like someone boiled plain chicken breast in water. And
Ew. Ew.
So I shredded it. I had all these like barbecue seasonings. I have the steakhouse butter seasoning. So I added a little bit of a kick, a little bit of the butter stuff, and then some like Kansas City barbecue seasoning. Shredded it all, mixed it up. And I was like, here, try this. She's like, this is so good. What you put in it? I'm like, the seasonings that were in the cover. She's like, oh, this is good. I'm like, what did you put in it? She's like, some paprika, some garlic powder, some onion powder, and some thyme. I said, is that it? Did you put salt and pepper? Well, no, I figured I didn't have to since I put garlic and onion. And I was like, something I've learned is that salt increases the taste of everything. So you need to put salt in. So I had all that chicken. I'm like, what are we going to do with this just already cooked chicken with seasoning randomly added to it? So then I looked up recipes and I made a Southwest chicken casserole out of it. So
This week on My Mom Has Tourette's podcast, we find out one of our moms is Caucasian and doesn't know how to season food.
I'm sure
in case you viewers didn't know, we might have a few people who just listen to us and they're like, you know what, I have no idea of the ethnicity of these people. And then, one of their moms is white, that's for sure.
The whole time I thought about that thing where they're like, did you even season your chicken?
Oh, speaking of, since we're speaking about individual mothers, I need to let Josh know that he is in hot, unseasoned water with my mom because she was not happy about the fact listening to an episode that you referred to her as a pig in one of the episodes. So you, my good friend, may or may not get a call from a number you don't know complaining to you. She wants a complaint department, and I'm going to give her one.
I don't remember the reference.
What if you get a random call? And
I remembered it last week, but I don't remember what it was now. It was one of our older episodes. I want to say it was like 5 or 6.
Oh, you probably said something. I was like, yeah, your mom.
Yeah, it was most likely something like
right.
that. But yeah.
That's all right. You know, feelings gotta get hurt sometimes.
Indeed.
For example, talk about the paperwork thing again?
You haven't talked about it, but if we're talking about things that we don't like, I would like to bring up the fact again that Nathan shaved.
Look at that. He's got an M for Mario in his hair.
I was bad. Dang. He said Nathan got the Majin Vegeta mark on his head. And it's your hairline, bro.
Here we go. Here we go.
Get me out of here.
Oh, get me out of here. That was bad. Josh, I'm quitting the podcast.
I'm sorry. You shouldn't have bent over. I just noticed it.
We're terrible. There's been 2 weeks now where
No,
at
my
least
my
one of us
hairline
has
is
said we're
terrible.
done with the podcast.
Yeah, that's fair.
My hairline's non-existent.
That'll
At
be
least
mine
if you lay
eventually.
down. At least if you lay down, it wouldn't be an M, it'd be a W for Wario.
For
For
why
Wumbo.
am I losing my hair?
Wow, Luigi. Wow, it go. All right. So
Anyway.
before,
That was a good one, Josh. You deserve this.
oh, thank you. So before we get into gaming news, we have some big news of the podcast to share.
I mean, this is
Nathan,
I like calling it big news because it's really something we should have done from the start. However,
we should have, but we
for
took our
those
time to
who
perfect it.
prefer to not listen to podcasts on YouTube and they like to just listen to audio, they don't really care about the video portion, which I don't blame you because we're not the best looking. The My Mom Has
Nathan
Tourette's pod. Well, no, I
This
mean,
was interesting.
and Josh and Angie are very beautiful. I was really just referring to me. But the My Mom Has Tourette's podcast is now available on some of the major podcasting platforms. So I'm going to list it off in case any of these are something that interests you. I figured you might want to know where it is.
And I would imagine there's going to be links in the description of this video as well.
Yeah, I'll leave links. Yeah, we'll leave links. Don't worry about it. So
Links.
you can find it on Amazon Music, Spotify, Castbox, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Podcast Addict, my personal one that I use, Pocket Casts, and Radio Public. I'm also hoping to get it on Apple Podcasts soon as well. Also, I only have the first 6 episodes up as to this point, which is counting up since 0, so 0 to 5. I'm going to work on the rest of them. I'm doing like unique episode art for each episode as well, which has been fun, but also makes it take a little bit longer. But
So that's
I'm
something
going to
I
get
was
the
going
rest
to
of them
bring
up
up.
soon. Yeah.
I only listen to podcasts on Spotify, and the episode art is fantastic.
Thank you, my
So
friend.
make sure you guys, when you listen to it on Spotify, or if the other ones have episode art as well, make sure you pay close attention to the pictures, because not only is Nathan taking his good time and hard work to making the pictures, but they're really cool. Like, our faces are on some of them. Ditto is one of my favorites. So
And it's funny because that was probably the easiest one to make. So hey.
yeah.
Yeah, but I'm
We
also
made it.
gonna big shout out to the people
We
who,
made it, boys!
Yeah, we did.
Boys, girls, and friends beyond the binary, we've done it.
Whoop whoop.
And where was I going with that?
3 off, huh? Those golf claps, man.
It really threw me off. My wife just snorted at me in the corner.
You know, when you drink out of the bottle, because it's missing the labels, it makes me think that the liquid is clear because you removed the labels. But if you were to put the labels back, then it would turn back to the original color.
You boys ever bottle your urine?
Only in dire circumstances.
Only
Good
when
man.
the government tells me I have to.
Good man. What?
Oh, you know
We'll have
what?
to unpack that and
Be,
talk about that a little bit later.
this is going to be an admittance on my part from about 25 years ago. Since you said something about that, Josh. So shout out to a few people listening to the podcast. First, I'm going to shout out to Joel, mainly because he's going to know this story pretty well. I also shout out to Joel's mom and dad if they ever hear this. I have to say, Joel's brother got in trouble for something. I kind of threw him under the bus by acting like I was asleep, and he just took the punishment. It was me all those years ago who peed in the downstairs bathroom shower. I was afraid to go upstairs because I thought something was going to get me, and I just peed in the downstairs shower, and it didn't drain. So he got in trouble. Sorry there, buddy. But yeah, now that I'm an adult male, I will admit to that.
Andrew,
Take
don't be
responsibility.
sorry. I'm going to be honest with you. Everybody has peed in that downstairs shower.
I'm sure, but I'm sure it's
The
drained
key
and they didn't get
is
in
you
trouble.
have to turn the shower on real quick to rinse it down.
I did not. I did not.
I want to say that I've not, but I can't. I have a bad memory, and it's very possible that I too was afraid to go upstairs. But I generally wasn't much of a shower peer before when I was younger.
Before he
when he
admitted
was
to
younger.
it.
Yeah.
I heard if you pee on your feet, it gets rid of the calluses.
That's probably just something people say to make them
Moving
feel better about
on to
themselves.
gaming news. So gaming
Gaming
news this
news.
week. I think that was a good point to move on. We're not continuing along that line of thought here. So
Are we still unpacking the peen in the cup?
no, we're not. No, we're not talking about that anymore.
Next time on My Mom Has Tourette's podcast. Gaming news.
Gaming news! All right. So there's been lots of crazy crap going on in the gaming world as of late. But one thing going on is Ubisoft Montreal in turmoil amid what developers are calling broken promises. So, looks like on basically Ubisoft, which Ubisoft Montreal is a developer company. They make games, stuff like that. And looks like on 9/11, lovely day for it. Looks like most of the over 4,000 employees of them, they had to return to offices to the office in Montreal's Mile End for the first time in 3 years. So once COVID hit, they, like many companies, said, "All right, you guys are going to go work from home because we got to keep working, but you're not supposed to be here." And everyone did. And lots of people like that. I know for me, I worked from home for a while, and it's pretty nice. And Andrew, are you still working from home?
Yes, sir.
It's a good time. It's great. It's not for everyone. And those people often have a chance to go back into the office because COVID is not as prevalent in the world as it was around that time. And
I don't know what that's like.
I know. One day you're going to be sitting at home behind a screen driving a truck remotely, like Truck Driving Simulator, Josh. You just wait.
That'd be cool.
So
somebody trademark that idea.
Would I get in trouble for running people off the road?
Yes, it would be no different than if you were behind the wheel.
Listen, if people can fly drones, why can't we just connect that technology to a truck?
I mean, they're working on it, but yeah, it's not there yet.
I know Amazon has that like 30-minute delivery in some places now for that same thing.
That's
yeah, but like, why can't we connect like the technology there? They can sit at the computer and fly the drone to like technology. Me sitting at the home, being able to drive and operate a truck, because I could buy like a steering wheel and pedals, and then just like drive the truck from the computer.
With that, I would have to say the biggest problem is what is going to happen if you suddenly lose power or the battery dies or there's a sort of malfunction. Now, instead of a drone harmlessly falling to the ground, you have 30,000 plus pounds of something falling into the side of the Euphrates River.
Sir,
Euphrates.
That is way too light, first of all. More like 80,000 pounds. And second of all,
I'm sorry it wasn't severe enough. Yes, no. Continue.
Second of all, they could have like a fail-safe thing that if the power's disconnected, the brakes automatically come on.
And the person behind them slams.
Yeah. No, but not like
they run into 80,000 pounds. Oh, you know what? Here's a good one. If that's what you want to do, you do that. I'll create a job as a fail-safe driver so that I just sit in the vehicle while you drive it the whole time. And then if something bad happens, I take over. That's a perfect job.
I think the reason that isn't happening is because they're channeling their funds instead into self-driving cars that still have a person behind the wheel. I don't think they want people doing this from their home and then losing connection and killing 1,000 people. They just don't want to deal with 1,000 might be a little bit severe.
Well, maybe they should do better at making sure the connection stays.
Fair enough. You got me there, man. Starlink.
You're right.
Exactly.
In other news, 9/11 seems like a really bad day to return to the office.
Yes, it does. And I'm going to move back to the article. So, looks like Ubisoft Montreal employees were told for the last 2 years, yeah, you guys are fine. You know? You can stay working from home. We're not going to send you back to the offices. 9/11 comes, 9/11 goes, and they all have to go back to the offices. And a lot of people are pretty upset about it because I guess their higher ups, the powers that be, told them that they would be able to essentially stay working from home, and it has changed recently. And there's lots of companies that have been like, yeah, you know, I want to have as much control as humanly possible over my employees. So let's bring them back to the office.
Here's the first question that pops in my head, and this is a legit question. What do you think the productivity level of someone working in an office 9 to 5 compared to working from home is?
The thing about that, what's funny is there have been studies, so many studies on that, especially since COVID,
Mm-hmm.
and I've heard both sides of the story. People saying people are more productive in the office and people being more productive at home. And really, in my mind, it just sounds like, oh, people are different, and some people are better in some situations than others. And also,
Yeah,
humans are like only productive for a few hours at a time, so like there's also that. But yeah, there's a lot to
that
it.
makes sense because like some people would do better being at home away from everybody, in their own area, they could work better, and then some people might need that like having to be at an office, having to have someone watch over them, making sure they get their stuff done because if they were at home, they'd be messing around or just not getting the work done.
Yeah, and it does come down to personality and characteristics, but a lot of it too. I think what would solve a good bit of problems is I feel like it's kind of forcing them to refine their interviewing process as a company because what these articles are essentially saying is, oh yeah, there's a lot of articles that say productivity is going up, people are happier. There's the obvious implications such as you don't have to pay for a lease for a building, to pay for the electric, to pay for the equipment, to pay for the employee to be there. So you're saving a lot of money, and that's why a lot of these companies are just saying, "Hey, yeah, we'll give you $60 a month on your paycheck so that we can pay for your internet because it's a lot cheaper than bringing you into the office." But what's happening is a lot of on the other end of the spectrum, a lot of these other people are interviewing for these jobs seemingly professionally enough, and they do nothing at work. They go through training, they work for a few weeks to a month, and then they get fired. I saw an article recently about a guy who got paid for between 4 and 20 years of him never working. And I'll have to find that article, but it was crazy because they went to give him his like 20-year
I remember
anniversary.
that.
Yeah. They went to
I
actually
heard about
physically
that,
give him some sort of like accolade for working for so
and
long.
he
They
hadn't
found out he
worked.
wasn't home. They found out he hasn't been at that address in years, and he hasn't been working. He's just been clocked in and clocked out every
Yeah,
day.
I'm incredibly impressed by that man.
no, he got
Yeah.
in trouble. He
I don't
ended up
He
care.
did.
having to
That
owe
was gonna happen
a
eventually, but that's incredible.
ton of money back to the company.
Oh crap!
Yes, he should have quit while he was ahead. I
Right?
mean, I don't condone this illegal behavior, but if I'm going to do illegal behavior, I'm not going to be stupid about it. I
Right?
don't think I would have pushed it. I don't know. Pushing it for
20
a year seems
years?
like a long time to me. Yeah. So let alone, and that's the thing. They said it was between 4 and 20 years.
What is
They
that?
have no idea how
When he
long he's
actually
not
quit.
been working. So, so it on the other end of things, like dude could have been not working for like 16 years, just collecting bank, probably with another job or doing something else. Who knows? A for ingenuity, F for tax evasion and stuff like that.
All right. What is the second article?
He's like, all right, let chop chop. All right, so our second article today is concerning, for anybody who is aware of the situation, the whole Unity drama. Now, Unity is a game dev like platform. Basically,
Weren't
I
they involved in some Call of Duties?
they were involved in all the duties, but we'll get to
Okay.
that. Um, basically,
Andrew has the duty.
for those, he
Indeed.
really does, dude. We're always getting back to that. Andrew just sitting here trying not to poop himself. But
Indeed.
Unity is essentially like, from my understanding, I don't know a ton about them, but I know that you can use it to essentially create games. Like a lot of games are based on the Unity platform, and let's say
Oh, I'm so sorry. That was an accident. I accidentally hit a key and it made that sound.
that was anyway. Unity. Let's just say I'm a game dev, and I've created this nice little. I'm like an indie game dev even, so like I don't have like I'm not like raking in the buku bucks, but I'm just making some indie games and stuff. And let's say that my game is based on the Unity platform, and we've created this game. We've put all our code that like deals with Unity, and then Unity goes and changes their pricing model completely and does some crazy greedy crap that makes, like, one of the things Unity is doing, from my understanding, one of the biggest problems is currently I can have two computers, and I can, let's just say, go on Steam and download Valheim on one of them, and then I can say, okay, I want to play it on the other one sometimes too, and I'll download it and install Valheim on the other computer. I purchased the game once. I can use it on multiple computers. The developers are charged like once by like Unity itself. I don't know how it works exactly, but something about like when you purchase a game,
Oh,
Unity gets some money as well from it.
I know what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
and I guess Unity recently has decided, these players are. It's not even the players though. Oh my gosh. So if I were now under this new model, which is not implemented yet, but it's something that they are basically saying they're not going to back down from,
Hmm.
if I were to install Valheim that I've purchased once on both my computers, the developers are charged twice. If I were to also download and install it on another computer, another device, the developers are charged again. They're wanting to do like per install fees for
Hmm.
What if
video
you
games, which is
bought the
absurd.
game, deleted it, came back a year later, and reinstalled
I
it? Would that?
think that doesn't count, but because I think that it keeps in like it has some idea of like the computers that they were installed on. I don't think like if I download it,
So
delete it, and reinstall it, it's going to be a problem.
is the user being charged twice or just
No,
the
it's just the
developer?
developers. So like it doesn't even hurt the players. Okay, so I want to actually get to the actual article because this is all to do with that and had some backstory of like what's going on with Unity and everything. But basically, Unity is like the actual article title here, the headline is Unity acknowledges confusion and frustration among developers, but won't walk back install fee plan. So they basically actually went out and responded to all the backlash about their changes for fees for like per installs and everything. And it's not like an insane amount of money, I don't believe, from my understanding, that they charge for every time there's an install, but like it adds
Well,
up when
that
there
would
are
be an
hundreds of
important
thousands or
number.
possibly millions of people downloading and installing.
I
Because
don't know if it's. Oh, sorry.
no, you're fine. I was going to put a number out there. Let's say 1 million people have downloaded and installed the game, and then let's say 10,000 of them installed it on a second computer. That right there, let's just say they charge, I think it says something about charging like 20 cents per extra install or something like that. Okay, so they just get a free $2,000 for nothing.
Yeah.
Like, and that comes out of the developers' pockets because their users wanted to play the game on more than one
For no
device.
reason.
It's
It's
just
not like
it's
it's
weird.
costing any of them, the Unity or the developer, any money for them to download it on a second computer.
Yeah, Andrew, you had something.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's in that article or another one. But what they're doing also is they're charging per install, but they're charging subscription fees as well.
Really?
So these publishers or whoever makes the game and through Unity, or I'm not sure how it works, but there's some different tiers of subscription plans where, if you get basically they charge you differently if you expect to have more installs. And what's happening is like if you get 100 installs and then you have this subscription fee which is like x amount of cents per install as well, there's huge examples of people having to pay more for their game than they've made off of it because they don't have the correct subscription plan to quote save the money. It's absolutely insane.
What?
It's ridiculous. I'm going to see if I can find the article while we're here too,
There
because
is
it is
like
insane.
our third article technically has to do with this as well. It's about a specific developer who uses Unity though, but there's a lot of people boycotting this. Like some people are straight up pulling their games from Unity and they're like, "Yeah, we're just going to have to recode this in something else. Or we're going to have to remake our game in a different platform because
So
Unity
I
is."
know this isn't the same thing we're talking about, but let's say with like Call of Duty, they have all those in-game purchases. Does any of that go back to Unity as well?
In-game purchases in the game, I wouldn't think so because that would be a separate thing created by like the higher ups of the company, like the marketing team of the company or something like that. I can't imagine microtransactions would go back to platform.
I mean, that makes sense, but at the same time, the microtransactions are still using the Unity platform. I'm
I don't
sure
know,
there'd be
man.
some way where they could
Try
turn
to get
around and
money
be
off of
like,
that
well, all
too.
your microtransactions, you need to pay us too.
All your microtransactions are belong to us.
Because, like, the DLCs for new maps and stuff, all those new maps are still built off the Unity.
I don't know, man. I don't know what how the extent is, but another problem is there are people going to college for like game dev who are basing their entire career and all their experience off of Unity. And now
Oh my.
Unity is doing something like this, and a lot of games, a lot of developers are pulling out of them. And if they don't walk this back, those people might have wasted a lot of time focusing everything on Unity, because Unity is huge. So many games use Unity. Before this, there was no reason for them not to focus entirely all of their like knowledge and studying and experience on learning Unity, and now they have to completely learn a new platform. It's crazy.
So, are they doing it just to be greedy or because they are having money trouble?
I don't know enough about it to answer that, but I don't want to answer that because I'm not really sure. It looks like Andrew's still looking something up. You wanted to share something, or do you want me to move on
No,
to
yeah,
Article 3 first?
I did find it. So
Okay.
what's happening is you know what, there's another article that says it better. But what it is they have these different subscription plans. So how it works is if you have up to 100,000 installs, they have the regular subscription plan that is going to cost you 20 cents per install. And then, if you upgrade to more, to the higher bracket, it would only be 15 cents per install, and then 12 and a half cents per install with their high subscription setting.
Interesting.
Now, once you get to if you stick with the basic plan, it's always 20 cents per install, regardless how many people install it. What they try to do is incentivize people, so between 100,000 and one installs to 500K, it's 0.075 cents per install for one of the tiers. And then the higher tier is 0.06. And so it just progressively goes down the more installs you have. But I want to find the Twitter post that did the math. I might not be able to find it, but it basically showed through actually doing the math that if you get the wrong subscription plan, you can cost yourself like hundreds of thousands of dollars because
That's
they are
insane.
charging you for the subscription, and you don't have the
Does it show what the
quota that you thought you were
subscription?
going to go.
Does it show what the subscription plans cost?
I didn't see it on there. I'm sure I could find it, but it might be something that's just also available
I know
for.
with nowadays marketing stuff, they can kind of guess what to expect for people to download. But how
Mhm.
could you possibly like pick a subscription plan with what you expect the number of people to download your game would be?
Yeah, and I mean for example, that can be anything. Look at Among Us. That was a simple little game developed by a handful of people, and then it blew up one year. Like
Yeah.
absolutely went crazy for no reason. And if they had bought into this Unity thing, they could be I mean they could be really screwed out of some money.
20 cents an
For the
install
record,
on
yeah, I did
that many
find the
downloads.
fees. I did find the fees. So their standard is free. They have a plus, which is 399 per year per seat. I don't even know what that means. But and then the pro membership is $1,800 per year.
Goodness.
And especially if Unity is supposed to be good at working for smaller developers at first, so that's a lot of money for somebody who's for per month for
Yeah.
someone who doesn't know if their app is going to take off or their game's going to take off or whatever.
It's insane. It's not great. Josh, you had something?
No, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I
So
don't.
that does kind of directly lead into our third article, which is also about this whole issue. And he did mention Among Us. So I'm sure if you exist, you've heard of Among Us at this point. And essentially, they're built on the Unity engine. Woo! So, Among Us is temporarily delisting on the table as developer weighs engine swap amid Unity scandal. So it looks like Among Us, it looks like the actual company, the developer who creates them, which is Innersloth, they confirmed that they're pulling Among Us for a while they're looking for a solution. So I don't know if they're going to completely just rebuild the game in a different engine or what, but they're straight up like pulling it from wherever you can get the game because it's based on Unity, and they're just not dealing with this. They said we're not gonna deal with
Among
these
Us
extra.
is such a simple but amazing game.
I've never played it, believe it or not.
That would be a great play
Really?
together.
Yeah,
Never played
it's
it.
free.
Yeah, but it's just I don't know enough about the in depth of how much this ends up costing these developers, but obviously it's a big enough problem for them to straight up pull a game to try to figure out something different
Well, and that's a lot of money too.
Yeah.
For you to completely build a game years ago, release it, get all the success it has, like it's a super popular game. Look on Twitch, and look how up there Among Us is streamed by people.
even still.
And for them, yeah,
Still, yeah.
But I think from that, I mean, unless anybody else has anything to add, we should move on to talking about the Talos Principle and what progress has been made these last 2 weeks. And
Hold on. Let me do something
he's
real
getting
quick.
those notes pulled up.
Pull up the
Among
notes.
Us has 17.5 thousand viewers,
Still?
which I think it means active right now. The top, I don't know how it's recommended viewers high to low. The highest video is 6.8. The second highest is 3.6 active viewers right now.
That's insane.
So, and then the third video has 3K viewers. So right now, as we speak, 17.5 thousand people are watching Among Us.
Nice.
Among Us in total has 14.1 million followers.
That's crazy.
So
intense.
for this to be such a big deal, for them to be like, we're pulling the game with 14.1 million followers and almost 20,000 active viewers of the game right now, it's a big problem.
Oh, huge.
Certainly sounds like it. I gotta play that game someday.
Well, don't play it.
It's a fun time.
Wait for the play together, and we'll do it for that.
I can do that. What has happened to Andrew? Is he pooping?
I
Is he on
don't
the
know.
toilet?
No?
You're not showing me any proof, buddy.
How can I show
How
you
can
proof?
you show you proof?
His
It
lighting
just
has
blurs
changed.
it all out.
Looks like he's
No, it's
moving
not.
moving his with his laptop right now.
No,
His
I'm
lighting
not. No, I'm
changed.
not.
Oh, I like the black
This
and
man
white.
is not gonna poop on the podcast.
No, he's not. I'm sorry, I have to fix my lights. They went out.
Yeah, okay.
That's
You're
much better.
actively. It looks like you're
Hey.
actively moving.
That is
Oh,
much better.
That's good lighting.
Thank you.
Oh,
Maybe you should do the podcast from this room more often.
you're
This
like
angle, you mean?
stuttering.
Sure.
What has happened with this video? Do you see that?
Yeah, that's weird.
I'm just choosing to ignore it.
The lighting is 10 times better right now. What was that? What happened?
He turned the
I
light
just
switch
turned on a lamp.
You could have been doing this all this time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What the crap? I don't believe you. You're on the toilet right now.
No, he's not.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, he is.
How can I don't know how to prove to you I'm not on the toilet.
Show me the toilet.
Let
me see. Here's my door. Can you see my door?
No,
No?
I don't need proof. I'd rather not know if you were pooping right now. So,
Okay.
All right,
Andrew,
so,
it's going first.
no,
Yeah.
Nathan. No, Nathan. Have you caught up to what we've been doing?
Not fully.
So where are you at?
I'm like halfway through World C. B.
Oh, okay. I was like,
My bad.
you're not.
My bad. However, once again, as a reminder, I've played the game before, and it's more about your guys' first experience. Because my problem is I struggle saying too much because I don't know exactly
I know.
what you guys
I can't
know
wait till
yet.
we get to a game where none of us have played it.
And then there's completely free reign of talking about how we feel about it. Yeah.
Yes.
Because like I have a lot of thoughts about this game that I'm gonna fully share when we're about at the end here.
All right, Andrew.
Yes.
You want to talk about what you've done?
I mean, I can, but there's not much I can talk about.
Hold on. What?
Okay. This is the
Oh, wait.
podcast of interruptions and technical difficulties.
Really
For
is.
sure.
All right. Go ahead.
Did she just ask you to shave?
No.
She'd be a horrible wife.
Dang.
If I did, she'd collect life insurance.
Oh man, if you guys had smell-o-vision, this would be terrible. It's actually a fly on my screen. Get off.
All right, so I guess I'll go over my notes.
Sorry, my desk's a little shaky.
So I. So I found the hidden terminal outside of the World ABC buildings. Yeah.
Oh, me too.
Did you?
I did
Yeah.
find that. Yeah.
Did you
And
read
it
it?
explains Elohim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting, isn't it?
He's
That's
a
pretty
cat.
cool.
Holistic integration manager.
Listen, I am not dropping that. That cat has something to do with this freaking game. It's got to be in here somewhere.
There was that giant sphinx.
So tell me, what did
No.
it? Kind of like, what do you have written down about it? Like, what did it say? What did you
I didn't write
read?
anything about it.
Oh, you didn't. Okay, cool. You found it though.
I mean, me neither. So
Well, I didn't know if Andrew was going to go look for it, so I just wrote that I found it. 'Cause
I
you
don't-
talked about it.
I don't know
I
if
found
you
it too.
remember what the EL stands for. I'm blanking on that. But basically, it was
I
like
took
the
it as
O
an
was
abbreviation.
the O was
The
like
O-
0 for like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. So it was the first iteration as of starting at 0, and then Holistic's integration manager, and it was like basically he's just the dude who presides over this world or whatever.
I remember because it talked about how they wanted to make a program and make an AI that took care of the program or something like that without them having to be active
Yeah.
with it, and that it would learn.
And that terminal
and
pretty
they-
much like, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
It like confirms that it's basically an AI or something like that.
Yeah.
But you don't. You're so close to
Mhm.
I know you.
But he really took.
what's so funny?
Nothing. Continue, Josh.
Elohim is funny.
True. True.
He really took the whole I gotta take care of these things.
Elohim was a big fan of turtles.
Oh, I got some turtles for him.
Elohim just wants you to be free.
Do we need to like end the podcast?
No, we're good.
No, he's
Continue.
wrapping up.
I don't know how I feel right now.
I got this new Jiggle desk when I laugh at you.
You bought the new Jiggle desk?
He's feeling
It's
a bit
amazing.
squirmy.
That's the title of the episode, New Jiggle Desk. Confirmed.
Smell-o-vision.
Smell-o-vision 2023.
Oh.
This is killing me.
Alright, so I got the hidden star that was behind the tower.
Josh didn't see it. I love it.
I recorded it. I'll watch it later.
You got the hidden star that was behind the tower. Good job. Good job. Did
Yes.
Andrew get that?
Yes, I did.
Nice.
Oh.
I don't know if I
Okay.
can handle this. Just don't make me have to blur anything, please.
I got the wooden doors in World A, B, and C.
Nice.
Andrew,
Yeah, I'm here. I'm listening.
did you
Continue.
get those?
Yeah.
Okay. So World B level 5 was harder. Was way harder than the gold star room in World A. The first puzzle on the left took me a while. You had to place all the pieces on the pad, then record yourself picking them up and putting them down, and then run and stand on the pad for the fan. This is the one I was telling you about when we unlocked the recorder, and I was like it's crazy what you have to do.
Hmm.
Yeah, I hated that level.
Yeah, and then you had to stand on that pad for like a minute and then go get all the pieces again, reassemble the fan with the laser on top. I had to do it twice because the game reset.
Dude, I can't tell you how many times I had to do that dumb level. I
Well,
got
I-
so frustrated.
I did it I completed it, and then I either died on another level or I had to reset it.
Go. Yes.
And it reset that puzzle, and that puzzle's
Mhm.
needed for the star. So I had to go redo
Oh,
that
that's
whole
right.
puzzle again to get the laser up in the air.
Hmm.
So that took a while.
I can imagine.
Yeah, I even have that level 5. All my puzzle pieces reset, so I had to watch a video on how to get the star, and then go through and redo all the puzzles again because they were needed.
You should bring that new lamp to your Jiggle desk.
I should.
Andrew, can I talk about an Easter egg? Did you find an Easter egg in level 5?
Yes.
How did you get that soundboard?
I didn't know
Dude,
they had the toilet
There's so many
soundboard.
sounds on this thing. It's crazy.
Babe. This man just took a dump on the podcast.
You have no proof.
Andrew.
It's a me. I'm Mario.
For some
Mario.
reason, we ran into technical difficulties. I don't know what's happening.
Oh my gosh. Oh. I give
Alright.
up. So, what else, Josh?
Andrew?
I
Did
can
you,
still hear you. Yeah, I mean, what happened with the podcast with
Well-
with what you're doing, buddy?
You gotta turn your thing on because you mess up Nathan's YouTube video.
Nah, it's fine. You do whatever, man. Nothing matters anymore.
I'm sorry. I'm
What's
just
going
putting the
on is
lamp
very
back. I didn't. We got some mixed stuff about my lamp, so got to go back to being normal.
Obviously, the title of this
Definitely
episode
didn't.
is Turtle on the Jiggle Desk.
Definitely didn't have to wash my hands.
That Jiggle desk is still kind of dirty, ain't it?
Yeah, I like
Andrew,
this lighting better.
Did you find the Easter egg in level 5?
Level 5. I don't know. I don't even know what's an Easter egg and what isn't anymore. Dumb game.
I cannot talk about it if you want.
Yeah, you did last time. You did make a big fuss about him talking about it. So
You're good. I am setting a timer. All right, continue. Yeah, we don't need to talk about it.
So what are we setting a timer for?
no reason.
No reason.
Alright, level 6 wasn't too bad. I watched the video after I finished everything because I wasn't seeing anything of... Oh, so I did the whole thing and I'm like, there's no star. And then I was like, does this world not have a star? So I went back to the beginning where it shows the board of all the pieces. And there were stars on the board.
2.
I'm like, yeah, I was like, there's no way. I can't, there's not. So I watched a video. I didn't want to leave. What did I say? I wasn't seeing anything about there being a star, and I didn't want to leave and find out there was one, and all my puzzles reset. So during the video, I found out not only is there no, I found out not only is there no star on level 6, there isn't a star on level 6, it's level 7. But there is a parkour Easter egg for Serious Sam. I stopped watching the video and spent a half hour trying to parkour and eventually got it. The Easter egg was amazing, and I won't talk about that Easter egg either. Level 7. I found the hidden blue computer on level 7. I got the star. It took a minute to do, and I had to figure out how to use all the 3 blocks for the star. I beat the one level by accident in pure luck. I don't think that's how you were supposed to beat it, but I think I did something at the perfect time, and it just allowed me to do it. Because when I tried to do it again, it was impossible, and I actually had to reset the puzzle to be able to get it set up for the star. It's the one where the laser's here, you got to put a reflector here, and then you have the 2 mines that go like this, and there's a force field wall here, and you have to sneak past them at the right time to go through the wall to get the other reflector and the puzzle piece. And I think when those were going, I accidentally just timed it perfectly and snuck between them without them blowing me up. But every time I try to come back out with the reflector to set the puzzle up for the star, I couldn't. Like, there was no
So you
perfect
think you
timing.
weren't supposed to be able to get past them that way?
Yeah, I think it was luck because I couldn't recreate that perfect timing. Um, yeah. I found the second star. Had no idea there was one until I
Yeah.
went to leave and I watched a video on it because I couldn't find it. My fault for not exploring that one because some parts of the map, Elohim would try to kill you if you went too far. And so I just figured the whole map was like that. And there was one direction where I thought maybe the stuff was out that far for a reason,
Good band.
but I didn't try to go out there because the other areas I tried to go, you know how when you go too far out of bounds, Elohim's like talks like your screen like
Yeah.
it was doing that for most of the map, and so I just didn't think that area would be accessible, but I was wrong. And but that's where the star was.
Very nice.
So World A, World B are all beat. The computer in the lobby of all three worlds is found. The secret star behind the tower is found. The first floor of the tower is done. So all I have right now is World C and whatever comes after that.
All right, so we're moving on to World C next, I see. Haha.
Indeed. Ha ha ha.
Ooh.
C for crap.
C for see people poop.
I'm impressed because I didn't see much strain.
Well,
Yeah,
sometimes
I've
if you have
had to
go
do
that
it on the
bad,
phone for a lot. Like some of the most important things in my life I've done while I was pooping.
Are you at work sometimes and you're like you have to go, but you're on a call, and then like you need to be at the computer to click some things, but you just tell the people that the website's down, and when it's available, you'll try it again?
No, I've not done that. If we can take a moment to detour, I can explain the best thing that's ever happened to me at work while I had to poop.
Okay, take the detour.
So I used to work for a
Easter egg.
company. Easter egg. I made a couple. So so I used to work for this company where my main goal was to uh, set appointments for salespeople. Um, and it's usually so basically I had to talk to a decision maker, which was usually like a CFO, CEO, something along those lines. And my goal, they had previously expressed interest in certain products or services, right? Uh, so, for example, like maybe this company was looking for cell phone services for all their mobile employees. You know, they could have a work phone. My job would be I have to get in touch with the CFO or whoever the decision maker at that company would be, whether it's just the owner or someone else, um, and say, hey, I'm calling up to follow up on, the information you requested. And so my job was basically to have enough information just to be dangerous. So I knew enough about whatever product or service we were offering, and my job is to basically get them what we would call a soft close. So basically, they're saying, "Yeah, I'm interested. Just get me with the excuse me. I want to have an interview with the sales rep," because this is usually stuff that's just more than like just a couple hundred units of something. This is like big time. So the salespeople have sales experience in selling like really big, really top of the line stuff. So I I have to actually Google the name real quick. Give me 1 second.
While we're taking this detour, can I ask why we set a timer?
We'll talk about that later. I think now that you're conscious of the timer, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But City Field. Okay. So I couldn't remember the name of the field. So City Field is where the New York Mets play baseball. With this job that I worked at, that was one of the places that I called was the City Field, and I had to get in touch with I believe it was the CFO there, and so you basically get this list of people to call every day, or something similar to it, and you just kind of go through. You get a lot of voicemails. You just got to keep trying and going to different people at different times of the day to get in touch with somebody. Sometimes you have their work schedules to know if they're in a meeting or whatnot. And so I called this guy right after he was done with a meeting, and I spoke with him. I wish I could remember his name. This was years ago. But I had just ended a call previously, and I was like, man, I got to use a bathroom. And it's, it's not uncommon to try to call like 10 to 20 people before someone picks up. So I was like, yeah, I got time. I don't want to stop working because, if I'm just going to get voicemails, what's the point? So I just brought my laptop with me with my headset on. I went to the bathroom. I was going to the bathroom. I called the next person, which was this guy, and I hadn't got in touch with him. I tried, I think, like 30 something times, and every time I just could not get in touch with him.
Oh no.
So I'm mid poop, and I call this guy, and he answered. Well, his receptionist answers, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm Andrew. I'm with blah blah blah." I can't name the name of the company for legal reasons, but so I'm like, "Yeah, I'm trying to get in touch with this guy," and they said, "Okay, yeah, he's available." I was like, "Oh crap, really?" And so she transfers me over, takes a few minutes, and I'm like, "Oh, I gotta finish this then." So I talked to this guy, and they were looking for security. So I was basically representing a security company. And long story short, while pinching the loaf, I had I had set an appointment for the salesperson, and later that day he messaged me. He's like, "I don't know what you said, I don't know what you did." He's like, "But like we got this contract. It's like one of the biggest contracts we've ever gotten." So they used this security firm to do, their event security for things that weren't like baseball games because they have their own for that apparently. But any like concerts or stuff they'd have there, they needed another team for more people. So he was like, yeah, he said he was assuming that he was closing the deal with you, but he didn't realize you weren't the salesperson. You were very knowledgeable, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. So yeah, and it ended up being like a couple $1 million contract that they signed. And it was while I was making a couple $1 million, if you know what I'm saying.
Can I make this statement? Don't they say sometimes the best places to think are while you're on the toilet?
Yeah, dude, that's why I do my Bible reading in the
You broke up. You said that's why I do my Bible reading, and then you mouth.
Yeah, in the bathroom. It's exactly it. I usually just use my phone because, I mean, who doesn't bring their phone to the bathroom anymore? And I'm like, yeah, I mean, while I'm here and I'm doing the business, I might as well read through a couple verses because why not? I mean, I can guarantee I'm not going to be interrupted there unless someone calls me and I can just ignore it.
Did you hear about Taylor Swift's most recent tour?
Yeah, did you hear she gave all the truck drivers like 100,000 bonus?
Yeah, sure, that's fine. But what you might not realize is she actually did the entire tour from her bathroom at home, and she just held her phone in front of her.
That's great.
Nathan.
Yes.
Josh.
Go ahead, sorry.
We forgot to say that our Mom Has Tourette's podcast has a TikTok.
We did not mention the TikTok. Yes. We also have that.
We're on TikTok.
Could you do a little graphic when you're editing and you're reading off the list of what we're on? Just throw up like TikTok as well.
I can do that, sure.
I mean, they could just listen to the video too, but that's fine.
Yeah, but how many people you think are going to make it all the way through this much of the video and they'll be like, "What?"
If they don't, they're not real fans.
Made it to the part, made it to the part where things started to get interesting, they're definitely sticking around.
I already put a TikTok up of Let Us Play.
Very nice. Are you just kind of managing that or something?
Yeah,
I appreciate
I can only
it.
do it with the stuff that you post on YouTube.
Yeah.
So I have to go through and watch the stuff, phone record it, and then edit on my phone and then post it.
I mean, that's awesome. Are you putting like I haven't checked it out yet, but are you putting like our handle on it and stuff so people know where to find us and everything on YouTube?
It's on our bio.
Okay.
Yeah,
our
that's
YouTube
probably the
address.
best place to put it.
I don't know where else to put it.
It's probably the best place, yeah.
That's fine.
So I figured since I was waiting on Josh to catch up a little bit since I played a little bit further than him, I figured since I wouldn't have much to add to the gameplay aspect of things, I thought it'd be a cool idea to kind of reinvest my thoughts into what the game is.
Okay.
I said before that the reason why I like certain games is because I like to look at the psychological profile of sides of things, and just the how it makes your mind work, trying to make you think a certain way to solve puzzles or to get past something. And I figured I'd do that. So I'm realizing, obviously, this game takes heavy annotations from uh, religion of sorts, primarily Judeo-Christian values. And uh, I'm realizing after I kind of looked at what I've played and I looked through some of the puzzles that I've already completed on YouTube and, listening to the dialogue and stuff. I'm realizing there's a lot more similarities to biblical proportions, that is, than I think you might initially think. So, for example, Milton, which is the name, I believe, of the computer
librarian.
Computer
program.
library.
Yeah, the library guy. Yeah. So I've really do think that if this plays out the way I think it's going to, that this is almost like a one-for-one representation of how things work in the beginning as told out in the Bible.
In Genesis?
So Milton is essentially the representation for the serpent, aka
Well,
Satan.
hold on a minute.
I don't-
Because here's the thing. Milton is the library of all of the petabytes that have downgraded to so many gigabytes. It's the Milton library system. I don't think they've put a name to that person we've been talking
There
to.
is a person being like, yo, the voice in the sky.
That's who I
he's
just
leading you
assumed that
astray.
was Milton, because that was, there's no name to him, but he's supposed to.
I think
one
it's
of the
like,
first times he says something about like being found in the library or something when you were perusing through it, which is why I just kind of assumed that was him.
Gotcha.
I'm still going to call him Milton because it's easier than saying the computer
I'm
programming
fine.
guy.
We don't have a name for him.
But he is definitely, like, there's a lot of similarities between him and in the Bible how Satan works.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you come into the game, Elohim presents himself as God, and he says the same spiel almost word for word as Genesis shows in the Bible, being, hey, I created you. You're in this garden, this utopia that I've created. You can do whatever you want to do, but you can't touch this one thing. You can't go into this one thing because it'll cause you to die.
Yeah.
And that's what he says. He says you'll die the moment you enter, or something along those lines.
Well, you shall surely die, which technically they don't die immediately, but the whole point is they then bring death upon themselves, and they do die eventually, which they initially were not going to. Because, that's
Indeed.
Technically, some people are like, but they didn't die when they ate it, but it's not what it meant.
Yeah.
death of
And what's that,
things.
Josh?
Not death physically yet, but it's the death of the life that they had.
Yeah, and of their just generally inviting sin into their life is death.
The death
It's just
of
death
the
of
peacefulness they had, and the birth of the hate and the sin,
and a bunch of poop.
Yeah,
a bunch of poop. But so to continue, oh, that felt good. So I've also noticed that, because that's the one part of the game that I try to pay more attention to, is anything involving that computer, because to me it's a bunch of different puzzles until you start listening to that thing, or you start listening more to Elohim, whatever you choose to do, and going through each of the prompts. The first thing that this Milton does is he questions the words that Elohim said. He's basically saying, if you go into the tower, you're not gonna die. Something, you're just gonna be like Elohim, and
hey,
that's
did
why.
you go in the tower? Did nothing happen to you? Yeah, he's lying.
And even before that, he tried to put the seed of go ahead, go in the tower. Nothing's going to happen. You're going to be fine. Things will actually be better if you go in the tower. You'll start learning more. And he's making the direct kind of parallel between Adam and Eve and God, and Satan, and him saying, "Hey, surely you won't die if you eat the fruit from the tree that you're not supposed to be at." And Milton saying the same thing. Surely you won't die by going into the one place that he's telling you not to. And then each time you interact with that being or whatever you want to call it, I don't know what your responses were, but for the most part, my responses to him when he would ask me a question was something a little more positive, like upbeat or whatever. And each time you say
He was
something
always
positive,
negative.
yes, each time you show any sort of might be a bit of a reach here, but each time you show some sort of faith that seems to be a little bit unreasonable, even that's whenever he starts to get negative. And it seems
He's
like the more
questioning you about a word,
Hmm?
or Milton's questioning you about something like, what does this word mean to you? And every time like you
Hmm.
try to explain it and stuff, he's like, well, what about this? What about that? And
Consciousness.
then yeah. And then
Hmm.
eventually he's like kind of takes your side and goes, I kind of been thinking about the answers you've been giving, and I can see your point. But then out of nowhere, just like the snake, the serpent in the Bible, he just comes out and he's like, "No, you're wrong. Don't listen to him." Because Elohim comes and he says like, while you're talking, because it was on one of my notes from a couple weeks ago. He's like, "Who were you talking to on the computer?"
Mm.
And then the computer's like, "Is he getting on your case for talking to me?" Kind of
Just
like,
Hmm.
ignore him.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, I completely see
Yeah,
those
and
parallels.
it's interesting to me because he is the more that you interact with him, the more I don't want to say negative, but like I don't really know another word to describe it. He's being more and more discouraging the more that you're showing any sort of faith in what's going on, I guess, and
Mm-hmm.
not what he's telling you.
We're
And it's
trying to
getting to the
learn,
point, yeah.
and it's almost like he's been trapped there so long, and we're trying to learn things, and he's like, nah, I'm just gonna trick this dude and make him like he's wrong. I'm gonna be negative.
It
Well,
really
there's
is like
like,
pretty much a 1-to-1 though. I mean, even at the
yeah.
start, he's like, I have like all these things planned for you, this world made for you, or whatever. Go and do these things and stuff. And he's like, but don't enter the tower. But like, it's just,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I'm trying to look up the exact quote because there was something on one of the one of the monitors that I read. It was a poem that I recognized, and it was by, I wish I could remember who it was by. It was a pretty popular old, like I want to say it was like 14 or 1500s. But there was a poem by this guy who was known for his Christian values,
Mm-hmm.
and they use the direct quote from it. Here it is. Okay, I'd find the I had to find the part that I was looking for, I believe. No, that's not it. Never mind. Hold on. I will find it. 'Cause I
Elohim.
just looked it up recently. It was from, what was it called? No, I don't know. I'll find it eventually and bring it up again. But they're making these parallels, and it's interesting because through most of the game they're trying to make these parallels to the Christian values,
Mm-hmm.
and it almost seems like the game is making an argument of being of atheism in general,
Yeah.
but they're doing it in a way that's very respectful to organized religion in a general sense.
Yeah.
They're just trying to question what you're quote blindly agreeing in per se.
True. True.
um, and it's really cool to me because the more that we're playing through it, the more it seems like some of these parallels are getting a little more obvious. And you know so like which is why which is kind of why a few episodes ago I mentioned that I think the end of the game is going to be like you purposely choosing basically whether you betray Elohim or not. And the reason you're going to do that, I would imagine more often than not, the reason you're going to do that is because you were influenced by Satan.
Mm.
You have had these conversations. If you would have been a one and done and you cut it off, and you just cut it off there, maybe things would have been different.
Like if you
But
had
we're
cut off your
humans and
poop
we're
early before.
curious.
I'm sorry, this is not the time.
It's always the time. But yeah, so like if you would have cut it
Yeah.
out, pinched it
Yeah.
off early, you wouldn't have had these problems.
Yeah.
You know, you would have just, no, I don't believe you, whatever. You probably could have just went through the game, solved the puzzles, have some different ending, everything's fine. But most people are going to get this ending that I'm assuming you're going to make it to the top of the tower,
Yeah.
you know, and there's going to be some sort of like, there's going to be a part, I'm sure, where the devil or Milton or whatever you want to call this stupid program is going to kind of be like, see, I told you so, you aren't going to die. But I think that it's also going to change, like, literally the landscape around you, like, absolutely everything.
Mhm.
So
And
go ahead.
I was going to say, I'm just about done. But, like, and then I feel like Elohim is kind of going to do the same thing that God did. And he's just basically going to be like, listen, I knew from the start that you were going to disobey me.
Get
And
out
I
of the
knew that this
garden.
was going to happen. Yeah, you know, you're going to have to leave, whatever. So that's why I think everything's either going to change or, like, I don't know, blow up or something. I don't know.
But here's the craziness, because like I completely agree with everything you're saying, but at the same time, what we read from that computer that was hidden under the world buildings
Hmm.
adds a whole different level of complexity to what you just said.
That's why I really
Because
wanted you guys to find that.
Hmm.
because like I get everything you're saying, but it's Inception.
Yeah.
It's exactly what this seems like, because we're in a game that was built by real people being controlled by an AI that was built by real people. So it's like, because in the computer they said that they wanted to build an AI program that would take control of all, and like not take control but like look out for all these other things that they did, and
And
that's
that's
Elohim.
where, yeah, and that's where I was going next with that, because with all the stuff that you're hearing from uh Alexandra's her name. I don't remember her last name. Whoever that
Drennan,
lady is.
Alexandra Drennan.
Yes, her. So everything she's saying and she's revealing is talking about how they created Elohim. At least it seems that way. And you know, they are saying, yeah, he's an android or something, some
Yeah.
program created by them to try to, you know, and they openly say at one point, I think it's in either the second or the third, uh, what's it called? Those wooden doors, like in each
Mhm.
one, there's one in each of the world. I think it's either the second or third one where they just basically openly say, yeah, like if we don't give them the ability of free will, then they're just going to be a really productive slave. And she also says, you know, we have to program this thing to, you know, have feelings. Like, when does somebody become a person versus a robot or whatever? So it seems like they're trying to also say that, like, um, the idea of this organized religion was just something fabricated by other people.
Yeah.
And like
Mhm.
that's where I really think there's that parallel between, they're kind of saying, you know, and it's a game and it's something that's worked on by people of various different cultures and faiths, so they're
Yeah.
probably just doing really well of conglomerating it all together to say, hey, and then I'm sure when we see the ending or whatever, we'll find out, you know, how it ends, and we might have different stories. But that's kind of where I think it's going.
I'm
But yeah, that's
They're really good
curious
thoughts.
to where or what Milton is. Because like we don't even really know what we are, why we're here, but we now know what Elohim is and how he got put here.
hmm
But now like we have to learn like why we're here, who put us here, why'd they put us here, what are we supposed to be to them, and then where, like, what is Milton, like the person we've been talking to, is he a virus that like snuck in during the creation? Is he a program that they did that like corrupted?
Mm-hmm.
And you know what that sounds a whole lot like? A lot of questions between people that have conversations about atheism and
It
creationism.
does.
Yeah.
Every single thing you said.
So, do you think if this game is that, do you think they're leaning more towards the conversation of it? Do you think they're more towards atheism? Do you think they're more towards Christianity?
Right now, I think they're a little bit more towards atheism. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if that's going to
Can you
change
explain
by
that
the
to
time
me?
we're at the end.
Because the fact that they went out and reenacted the scene of Genesis
Hmm.
in a video game, in a futuristic version, seems like somebody really took the time to learn Christianity.
I think
Hmm.
that's what he means by being respectful toward it.
Well, no, I get that, but like,
Because in a
how?
way, like they make this voice that's speaking to you throughout it, and like this Elohim, almost out to be like this big empty, like everything he says is like empty words in a way. Like it almost seems like the game is kind of pushing you toward defying him. Which,
Hmm.
like, obviously to us, like, we know what Adam and Eve did was wrong. We know that, like, that was objectively, like, they were not supposed to do that. You know, they were created for a purpose, and then they went and defied God. And, but in a way, like, the point of the game is they make this really intriguing, like, this tower that you can't even see the top of. It's, like, so incredibly tall. There's, like, storms going all around it.
Yeah.
And it's like, why would you not want to climb that? But then this thing who basically is acting like it's God is telling you not to. Goodbye, Salem. And it's like Andrew probably has a better way of explaining it, but I just really feel like the whole point is like the game is trying to push you toward defying him and climbing the tower when that's
And
the
I
one thing he
get
told you
that.
not to do.
And I get that, but
And
I just thought about this too, is
yeah.
what if they're recreating all of this to put us in their shoes? Put put
You
us in
need to
Adam and
clarify You need to clarify real quick. When you say they're creating this, are you referring to the game or like the creators?
The creators of the game.
the creators of the game are
Okay.
reenacting the scene from Genesis with the tower versus the tree scenario
Hmm.
to get us to defy like it happened in the Bible.
Yeah, I get what you're
For
saying.
us to be in the shoes of Adam and Eve to see what it's like for them to make the poor decision they did.
Yeah.
Like maybe the game is to railroad us into that decision for us to like in a futuristic sense see the repercussions of what they did.
Yeah, I get what you're saying for sure. I think I also will say that once you actually complete the game and get to the very end, you're gonna have a better like grasp and a better understanding
Well, of
of
course.
how you, of course, yeah, but like how you feel about it and like what you believe. Like we're only going from a limited like information you've gotten up to this point.
Hmm.
But I mean, I personally even think up to this point that it's more like toward like a. I mean, to be fair, it's generally easy to believe that the people who are making a
Well,
game about
it's
something
been
like
very,
this
very biblical
yeah,
since the
from the
the
very
very
beginning.
beginning of the game.
And to do my best to answer your question,
By the way,
Josh,
we do need to
this
wrap this up kind of
yeah. Oh,
soonish.
for sure. Yeah, this was my last.
You're fine.
This was my
Yeah.
last thought. Yeah. So to answer your question, in my opinion, this is completely conjecture. There's two ways to get someone's attention when you want them to start critically thinking. The two ways you can do that is using their own kind of, I don't want to say logic, but I can't really think of another way to put it. Using their own logic or their own words, to make a point hit home. So, for example, Josh, if you are preaching on me about, it's wrong to go out and, I don't know, it's wrong to go out and flirt with other women if you're married. Let's just say we think that's wrong. That's what you're telling me, and then I find out that's what you're doing somehow. Maybe I see you out somewhere and I see you flirting with other women, knowing you're married. it's going to hit a lot harder whenever I confront you on that and I say, hey, you were at I don't know, you were at
Walt Disney.
Walmart yesterday, right? Yeah. Oh, so who's that woman that you were flirting with that wasn't your wife? Aren't you the one that told me you shouldn't flirt with people that, especially if you're married? That's going to hit home a lot different than
Hypocrisy.
someone. Yeah, exactly. So that's the first way that I think of. And the second way that you can always get a rise out of somebody, one of the things that people always say is when you're at work or you're in some professional environment, never talk about politics or religion. Like avoid
Yeah.
those two topics. Um, and the reason why I think people avoid religion is because that is a very quick way to hit pressure points on people. And that's where I'm coming from when I say that's why I think they're leaning towards more atheism. Because what they're trying to do with that concept of this computer program that's telling you, don't have faith or whatever he's saying, um, he's doing exactly what Satan does. When the devil confronts Jesus,
Hmm.
he uses scripture. He tries to use scripture and twists it to make him do what Satan wants. He says, "Yeah, if all you do is just bow down and serve me right now, instead of, and I'll give you some food and you won't have to suffer anymore. All of the land that you see will be yours." And that's what Satan does in that instance whenever he finds Jesus, whenever he's starving. And Jesus responds in kind with more scripture, basically saying, hey, don't take this out of context, you freaking idiot. Except he's nicer because he's Jesus. And and he combats scripture, twisted scripture with real scripture. He gives context, and he also basically says, listen, that's what I came here to do. I came here to do this. You're just trying to offer me something that I already have. I just have to wait for it. I just have to be patient. So that's kind of what's going on there. Thanks, man. So, and that's what's going on, and that's what they're doing in the development of this game. They're trying to they're examining faith through a logical lens, and they're trying to use intelligence, specifically mainly intelligence, to prove their point of saying, well, yeah, we got this. You say you have faith, but what about the logical thinking of this doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind
I'm
of where
on
they're
the
going with it.
fence because I don't have enough information to really see where they're going. But if I were to make a game that was trying to reflect a futuristic version of Adam and Eve,
Hmm.
you would still have to create a character within the game that was doing what the computer is doing. So, like, on one hand, I get how it could be like an argument of atheism versus Christianity, but at the same time, I can see how it can be an argument of someone who's trying to create a game of a futuristic Adam and Eve, because that snake character still has to be put in the game into the story somewhere. And the snake is still going to be the snake, still going to deceive, condescend, trick, in all the ways. So I get it. I just don't have enough information to lean one way or the other. Of are they trying to make us relive Adam and Eve, but in a futuristic, or are they trying to show us atheism in the most polite way?
I'll tell you this, and then we'll move on. I will. Yeah, let's be bold and controversial here. So, Josh, I will guarantee you, okay? Let's just say, hypothetically speaking, if there comes to a point in this game where that computer program, uh, if he gets belligerent, right, like straight up evil at some point, um, I can almost guarantee you he's going to follow exactly how Satan does it and how it works throughout the Bible. And then you're going to get to a point where so again, this is a big theory that I've kind of constructed, but what I'm saying is I will guarantee you that if this game is about an atheist's point of view, we're going to get to the end of it and we're going to have to make a decision, and he's going to be there to sway us, and he is only going to be like negative, hurtful. He's only going to say these things that, like, even though you're in the midst of like, let's just say, I don't know how to explain it. Like, let's just say you're face to face with Elohim right now, and he's a deity or whatever it turns out to be. He's still going to deny his existence and deny that Satan was wrong, and that you know, whatever happens. And then if you side with whatever, I still think that that's what's going to happen. Is you're going to deny Elohim, and you're going to go to the top of the tower, and you're going to be faced with a choice, and Elohim is just going to be like, I knew this is what you were going to do, because that's going to be the key link to putting it all together is, do you have free will? And that's going to be the connector, because the whole time before we get into this religious stuff, you're questioning, you know, a couple weeks ago, we were questioning, well, what makes a person a person? Like, we look like a robot, but are we a person?
Yeah.
And that's going to be a key factor as well. You know, what makes a person a person? A person that's faith based says that it's, you know, it's your soul and it's, you know, things of that nature. Whereas a logical person just kind of says that, well, a person, a non-believer, I guess, would generally say, well, a person's no different from just an animal. You know, we just can reason and that's it. So I'll guarantee you that if we get to a
No,
point
and
in the
I
game where that
completely
happens,
agree with you.
I think it'll
But
explain it more.
I
That's what I
don't
think is going to happen.
My thing is that I don't like that would still be following the story of Adam and Eve. The snake was still very deceitful all the way up to the point of them making the decision to eat the fruit.
And the
And then
only
at
thing
that,
you're not doing is questioning why they did that. So why would they put that in a game in the first place?
say that again?
So you're not questioning why they would do that. So you're saying they're just kind of making a, not necessarily a one for one, but a recreation, a futuristic version of that story in the Bible, right?
Yeah.
Why would you do that? Because
Recreate the story?
yeah. So for example, like
Because when people read the story in the Bible, they see a snake deceiving two people who have everything that they could possibly want. And that's it. But it's completely different to play a video game, to be in Adam and Eve's shoes. Hello, I'm your creator. All of this is yours. You're free to do whatever you want. You'll learn. All of this is yours. I ask you not to go into the tower.
yeah.
And like so
And
like
that's what I'm asking you, Josh. If that's what they wanted to do, why would they do it in a different iteration? There has to be a reason for that. Is
why
it
would they make a
simply,
video
yeah,
game
no,
version?
not why would they make a video game? Why would they make it so different with all these parallels if they don't have a reason to? Why would they just make a future version of it? For and that's kind of what I'm saying is you're
Well, I mean, I
you're
think
just not,
it
yeah.
speaks to the times, though. Like with all the AI and the computer and stuff, I
And why
think
would you
it's
do that?
to hit the audience.
Exactly. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to hit the audience. But if you just hit an audience with nothing, then nothing's going to happen.
Yeah,
There
but
is an
if you're
agenda.
saying if you come to the end of the game and you're face to face with Elohim and the computer or Satan, whatever Milton is there, bad mouthing everything, trying to get you to make the bad decision, and you end up listening to the bad decision, and like you said, Elohim is like, I knew you were going to do this all along. You're no longer allowed to be here anymore. Just like everything happened in the Bible, it would still give the person playing the game a different view of what it was like to be in Adam and Eve's shoes,
Mm-hmm.
of
Mm-hmm.
making the wrong decision and
Mm-hmm.
what their consequences were.
Mm-hmm.
So
And
I don't.
is there a reason to doing that?
Well, yeah. I mean, it depends on how you look at it. If it depends on their motive, which I don't know their motive is my thing. I don't know the people behind the game. So if they
Do
are
I?
atheists, no. But I'm trying. I get the both of the point of views, but I don't have enough information to like look at this and be like, these are trying to show an atheist point of view.
And that's why we
Because
do things like this podcast. Because
why
this is
not
all
make a video
speculation.
game to reach out to younger generations who are very into the technical here and now and the creation of AI, and give them a futuristic version of
Okay,
the Adam
okay,
and
cool, cool,
Eve
cool. Why would you, Josh, do that? Let's say that you were the person to make this game, right? Why would you do that?
to reach out to others
But
in a
why are you
different,
reaching out to others?
because
Like,
not
what's the goal behind
everybody,
reaching out there? Like, what are you
because
trying
you
to tell
to
them?
further the gospel, because not everybody.
Exactly. Okay. Okay. So, why I'm speculating the way I am is because the story focus is definitely on don't do what the guy says, right?
Which
Whereas
is,
the story of the Bible, the focus is on God. Even in that story, the focus is always supposed to be God has said one thing. You should follow what he says and does. You should do it out of faith because you love him. But you have free will. And that's what inserting that free will is. I'm coming to these conclusions of my own free will with the same information you have. And
yeah,
you're
but
telling me that
I
you're coming
seen
to
it.
you can't come to a conclusion because you don't have enough information. That's a perfect example of our free will right there.
Yeah, but at the same time, there's enough of Elohim doing stuff in the game of what you just said. Of when he was protecting you from that crazy robot running, when he said, cease, be gone.
Hmm.
When he tells you, like, I know it's a creative way, but like when you're taking too long on a puzzle, like he
Hmm.
encourages you, like, hey, come back. When you go
Hmm.
far out of bounds, like when you're in danger, he's going after the sheep. Hey, don't go that far. Come back. Like when you were dying in the water because you're going out too far. All that stuff is like that creative. I'm God. I'm protecting you. Here's the boundaries. Don't do this, it'll hurt you. At the same time, you have the serpent in the fields saying, "Hey, don't listen to him. Who is he to tell you what to do?" So, to me, it's a good match. I see what you're saying, but at the same time, I don't really see where it's more of an atheist trying to tell people that Christianity is wrong. I see it more of a parallel story of an AI version of the Garden of Eden story
Hmm.
compared to the Bible.
Yeah.
Just
And
because everything's
that's
going to
it.
be someone else's different artistic
Hmm.
point of view. I just
Interpretation.
haven't
Yep.
seen anything that's come out to been like, because like if they
Yeah,
roll
not
credits at the end and be like God never existed, and then be like, oh, okay, this is a bad game.
I'm gonna drop you a quick truth bomb. They've already said that gods never existed in this game.
Where was
Whenever
it
they
the
said they
snake?
created God.
Yeah, but that's the whole different thing that I don't understand to all of
Yeah,
this.
that's the point, bro. That's the
It's
point.
like three different
So we're
timelines.
yes, this is why we do this. This is why we have these talks.
If you look at the game by itself of what you play through in that world, so the world being you, Elohim, the library, the puzzles, it's it's a recreation of Adam and Eve. But if you add the what's her name? Alexandria,
Hmm.
Alexandra Jenin.
all all the random ancient Egyptian stories they talk about, the poems, the creation of Elohim and all that. I get the atheism part, but I also don't understand because like that is more of a adding to the story. But I don't even understand what the ancient Egyptian stuff has to do with it. Like the
Yeah.
Sphinx, and then a lot of it just talks about the Egyptian stuff and
Well, if you're really enjoying me telling your opinions wrong, I think it's a perfect time to move on to the fantasy draft then.
Yes, it is. Yes, it
Because I can
is.
do this all day. Because it's just my opinion. What are we focusing on today, Nathan? What's our
All
fantasy
right,
draft
so
subject?
our fantasy draft. Imagine for a moment, young lads, You're teleported back to medieval England. Let's just think of just one of the periods, because that's a long period of time. Let's just say you were some kind of knight, some kind of knight, and you were taken to the king's armory. King goes, "Yo, what's up, knight? Knight? I want you to pick out 2 weapons out of our arsenal."
I knew you were going there. That's
And we
perfect.
have
I love it.
every weapon known to man currently at our time period. What weapon would you, and this is, listen, it could be, what do you think is like the best weapon? What do you think is the most style points? What do you like? Just entirely up to you. What weapon would you choose? 1 and 2. Who goes first, though?
I don't know.
This is just like what you
It'd
generally
be
use to fight
me, Andrew, Nathan,
Sure.
Nathan, Andrew, me.
with. Sure.
Cool. What would you pick, Josh?
I'm gonna go with the bow and arrow.
Classic, solid.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Archer is.
I want to stab someone far away, but
I
don't
want
want
to
to
stab.
move. Great.
I want to
Great
stab a
choice.
guy. He's
Exactly.
all the way over there.
Accuracy. You can get people from far distances. Stay safe.
I think that's an interesting choice because I don't think a lot of people would be able to use a bow and arrow to the effectiveness they think they could.
Oh, I can.
It's-
I used to
it-
I know you
is
can. Yeah,
work.
I know you can.
It takes a lot of practice, more than you'd realize.
It's awesome. Remember Mel Shalp used to at that Jamonville, that little summer thing for a
I
week.
love
Mhm.
that.
And they
Of
used
course
to
I
teach
remember that.
archery class up there.
Yeah.
That
That's
was
cool.
awesome.
Yeah, I love
All right,
Mel.
Andrew, what would you pick?
Hmm.
See, I don't know old
Choices.
knight weapons to really sit here and be like, oh,
Sure you do. Just basically, the old school melee weapons and things like a bow and arrow, very non-technological stuff. I would say I have my second pick because I know for a fact no one's going to pick it. So I got to think of a good first pick. I would say, you really can't beat a good old typical longsword. Just a double-edged regular longsword. It's got a lot of utility. It's not too heavy. It's not too light. It doesn't take a whole lot of skill if you need to kill somebody. You just point one end at it really hard, and you'll get the job done. So yeah, for its simplicity and effectiveness, I guess I'd just go with a traditional longsword.
Classic. I love it.
okay.
There's something to be said about the bow and arrow. I do agree that being able to stab a guy from real far away is useful. However, if I can't choose that as my number 1, my number 1 would be the spear. Now, the spear is
good
one
choice.
of the best weapons in general of just like being able to not die, but also be able to stab a guy from over there, just maybe a little closer than the bow and arrow. The spear was very solid weapon, and I'm a big fan.
Spear is a good weapon. The only thing that stinks about the spear is the thing that stinks about really any weapon that's kind of got that extra length to it is, someone gets in, somehow manages to get past the tip of that spear. It's not easy for you to defend yourself.
It's true.
But again, that's literally any long weapon.
Then I'll
You could
just
always kind of
walk backward.
yeah, could always just hit them with it's long enough too that you could just hit them with like the butt of the weapon if they
Yeah.
get inside.
True.
May not kill them, but it'll hurt.
I love a good
It'll
solid spear.
hurt.
Plus, you can throw it if you need to.
What's your second one?
My
My
second
second one.
Excuse me.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Nice.
It's your turn.
Nice.
A flail, baby. Got a
Yeah,
flail,
those are
good old
fun.
ball and chain. I'm just bam and bam and whipping it back and not hitting myself in the head with it. That's going to take some practice. And I just
So
I
are we
Indeed.
picking them because we're good with them, or just ones? we
literally
think would be-
anything, just whatever you want. My
All right,
first one
Andrew,
was
your
just
second pick.
pure practicality and like if I wanted an actual weapon to
Yeah.
fight with. My second one is boy, a flail would be fun.
Andrew, I know what you would pick, but I don't think you know that it's a medieval weapon. So I'm not sure if you're gonna say it.
Josh, you currently
Yeah.
look like the ghost of future past. Christmas past.
So one weapon that I think is super cool, not extreme. I mean, it's practical to a point, but it's not like the best thing you can use for the sheer
Flail.
cool factor. I would love to go with a Yickelwa. Those things
Okay.
are so freaking cool
Spell this.
for
They're
absolutely no reason. What's that?
YKLAW.
YKLWA, I believe.
IKLWA.
Yeah. They're like
They're like a giant pole, like this long, with like a 12-inch blade.
Oh, I've seen that.
it's
That's
yeah,
like
it's,
a
it's usually
spear,
like
but
a foot and a
cooler.
half long. It's like a small spear, yeah. It's really all it
That
is.
is
You
pretty
just
cool.
cut off like 6 feet of the spear.
I do like
So,
that.
Andrew, what I thought you would say, but I didn't think you knew it was a medieval weapon on this list, is a katana.
Katanas are cool.
So,
They are.
Alright.
I would love a katana, but the Yickelwa is really just, it's so interesting and people don't know about it. It's the sheer cool factor.
I didn't know about it. That's pretty cool. I've seen pictures of it, but I didn't realize I'd never heard that name.
Mm-hmm.
my number 2 pick is
What did Google tell you?
a sword would be cool. But listen, you gotta be good with the sword. And they're heavy. So you gotta be able to balance the heaviness with the accuracy, deflect, stab, slash, whatever. I love in D&D playing a barbarian. And I feel like I would be a barbarian in real life if I was a D&D character or class. And I would pick a Morning Star. Just a stick with spikes to
Mace with
run
no
out
chain. I like it.
and just blow faces
I
away.
like it.
He,
Yeah, katanas. I do like katanas a lot, but I do know that it takes a certain set of skill to actually use it properly.
Yeah.
That's
I
why I
think a
picked
katana
longsword
would
first.
be easier
'cause-
to use than a sword, but I could be wrong.
Oh no. Oh no.
Aren't katanas sharper?
Not necessarily. Katanas are weighted differently, where a normal longsword is just kind of like, it's exactly what it looks like. It's a really sharp piece of metal you can poke or slash people with.
Okay.
You can, in
Classic.
theory, poke someone with a katana, but it is not very good at doing that.
Yeah, it's a good time.
Well, everybody, remember, My Mom Has Tourette's podcast has a TikTok, and we're on Spotify and iHeartRadio.
And a bunch
I
of
know
other
Nathan
places.
wants to go to bed. Andrew doesn't have to poop anymore. So,
I wonder why.
Nathan, take us home.
I'm already home. Aren't you guys home?
Yeah, this is a work from home job, Josh.
Yeah. Josh, we
Oh,
need to
okay.
we need to talk about how much you pay attention to this podcast and our topics.
What was that thing? Oh, peanut in a cup. Are we going to come back to peanut in a cup?
Thank you guys for watching and listening. Depending on which side of that little coin you're on there. We're not talking about urine on this podcast, no siree. And I just do appreciate you coming. And if you're listening to this right now, either you skip to the end or you actually listen to like this whole 2-hour-long podcast, I commend you.
Thank you.
And,
This was a good episode.
Yeah, it was a good time. It was a good conversation. Lots of things to think about, and always look forward to the next week. So, I am using a colloquial term amongst our little group here. This is Nathan signing off.
This is Flapjack signing off.
I'm Dave.
And I'm Bartholomew.
Good.
And we love you guys. Have a good night. We'll see you next week.
Okay, bye-bye. Love you. Mwah. I'm going to hit end recording now.